Hello, class. It's Mrs. Alt here, and today I have the privilege of interviewing my good friend David Salgado. David, do you want to introduce yourself for us?
Hi, everybody. Like Miss Alt said, my name is David Salgado. I was born in Inglewood, California, but I've spent the majority of my life in Phoenix, Arizona. Currently, I'm living in Spokane, Washington, and it's very cold here. Not used to that whatsoever. But I'm doing well. And I was able to meet Miss Alt actually in college, which wasn't too long ago for me. Just about a year ago, got done. And we've been very good friends, and she's a wonderful person.
Thank you. A fun fact, David actually got to drive me to the altar on my wedding day, so we are very close. Good times, good times. All right, well, David, do you want to tell us about your college education and where you were slash where you are with things?
Yeah, of course. So I went to college at Grand Canyon University. Go Lopes.
What's
Uh,
up?
I was there for 3.5 years. I was able to cut it just a little bit short because I was able to take AP courses and things like that. So very much a good idea to take those into consideration. And I studied government with an emphasis in legal studies because the focus was always to get to law school, which thankfully I am here now. I'm studying at Gonzaga University School of Law. I'm in my second year. It is very difficult. It's a lot of reading and it's a lot of speaking and presenting your ideas. But I'm learning every day, and it's been a fantastic experience.
Wow. Love that. And David, earlier you showed me the size of one of your books.
Yeah,
It was no joke, guys.
this
You
is
want to hold it up?
this is my book. This is my hand. I mean, I'm a fairly large person. We're looking at that's 1,600 pages, 17,
Wow.
almost 18. So it's no joke.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, David, when you chose, to go to school to study government and eventually got yourself into law school, what was your like purpose or dream behind like wanting to be involved with government and things like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the driving purpose for me has always been to serve others. I think I've been very blessed to be able to have the opportunities that I have now, and I've seen what my parents struggled through and what my community has struggled through, and I recognizing those issues, I felt called to work in the law so that I can make substantial and prevailing changes for the future generations. And so I want to be advocating for the defenseless and those who just need to have their voice heard. And I think this is one of the best methods to do that.
Wow, so inspiring. I love that. Love that. And so when you were choosing like your degree and stuff, like how did you know that, or I guess, for example, like before you got picked for law school, obviously you had to go through an application process. Do you want to walk us through like what that was like?
Oh yeah, the application process is quite rigorous. Actually, it entails taking an exam. It's called the LSAT. Basically, it's comprised of reading comprehension. It's comprised of logical reasoning, of logic. They call them games. They're not fun. They're not fun at all. But it's all just meant to make sure that you can read a lot of information, analyze it, understand it, and apply it to a set of facts. Because at the end of the day, as a lawyer, that's what you're asked to do. Is you get a large caseload. You need to understand what is being asked of you, how to defend your position, and how to articulate that in a way that's going to be convincing and persuasive to the judge that's listening to you. And so
Wow.
that was just the first step. After that, they look at your resume. They want to make sure that you've been involved in your community, that you have actually been intentional about learning, going to school. And lastly, they ask for what they call letters of recommendation. So that is pretty much somebody who can vouch for you, somebody who can say, you know what, they've been a fantastic student or they've been a fantastic worker, and I can vouch for them that they're going to be great at this. So you need to have all of those components just to get into the door to
Wow.
start your 3-year process at law school.
That's crazy. And so with your experience in your application process, and even honestly, just just in what you're studying alone, what English language arts components have you seen like really tied around your everyday life?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question. What happens is that a majority of what I'm doing is I'm writing what's called memorandums. And so pretty much it's just I'm given a legal issue and I need to research, I need to investigate potential argument points, and then write that down in a way that's going to be um, persuasive to the reader, which right now are my professors. But at the end of the day, once I have a career, that's going to be the jury who's listening to the conversation. That's going to be to the judge. If things move further than that, that could be the appellate courts or the Supreme Courts. There's going to be a lot of people that are reading these documents, and there are databases that are just full of works that other people have created. So your writing stays on there forever, pretty much. So you want to make sure that what you're writing is going to be your best work, and that it's going to be something that's clear and concise and that people can follow through. And so that's like what they're really focusing on during law school, is they want us to be able to articulate our thoughts in a manner that is easy to comprehend. You don't want to over confuse things for people, but you do want to have authority when you're speaking. And there's definitely lots of ways to do that, which are very English oriented, and a lot of things that, in my first years of school have been very influential for just establishing that foundation as we get on to the more advanced things later down the line.
Totally. Absolutely love that. Especially right now in sixth grade, we're learning how to do what we call the race strategy, which is where we, restate the question asked to us, answer the question, cite using text evidence, and then explain or elaborating our answers. And so I love that you say, like, you have to research and provide that text-based evidence, so to speak, and really clearly state how to answer and resolve the problem that you're presented with. So it's really just a higher level of what we're doing right now in the sixth grade level. So that's really cool to hear. I love when I hear, those real life applications, like stuff that we're doing right now in the classroom, just at, what is it, law school level. Uh-oh, did I lose you?
I got cut out there for a second. My apologies.
Okay. I was like, oh, did I lose you? Okay, well, great. And so with all of that, with you in law school and things like that, how important do you feel like reading comprehension is at your level in the journey?
Oh, it's the most important, actually. When it comes to, like I said, writing documents, or even in class, a lot of class is just very, it's something that, your students might learn later down the line, but it's called the Socratic method. So it's just very, talkative. We're all talking, we're conversing, we're hearing different viewpoints. And so the professor will do something called cold calling, which is actually terrifying. Pretty much, the professor, it's like if Miss Alt were to just call on any one of you randomly and you're on the spot. You need to know the answer, and not only do you need to know the answer, but you also need to be able to explain your point of view, tie it to the text, tie it to prior case law, because you really need to have that grounding authority for what you're saying. Anybody can just say something, but once you tie it down to something that gives you that authority, that's what really makes it a powerful statement. And so when it comes to reading, I'm constantly reading about, I want to say, like 40, 50 pages per class. I have about 6
Wow.
classes. And so it's a lot of reading. It's a lot that I have to remember. This is employment discrimination. This is constitutional law. This is torts. Keeping all of those things together is what really is the focus here, and that's what reading comprehension really helps me manage everything that I'm reading, knowing where to direct my arguments. So without that, I really would be lost. So it's a very
Yeah.
valuable skill that is really worthwhile in practicing and implementing, especially now, because if you
Yeah.
get those roots started, I mean, you're going to have a much easier time in the future.
Totally. And I love that what you said about like that time management piece with delegating the responsibilities of your assignments. Sixth grade is I think it's the second or third year because I think they start in fourth grade switching classes. But
Mm.
this is the first year that they get all the classes at the same time and go to different teachers for every subject. So they're really feeling that new struggle, that new challenge of balancing their class load and having different responsibilities with different teachers. So I love that you just spoke into that because that is something that we're facing right now in the sixth grade. So I think that's amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And David, also, I wanted to speak to you as a person really fast because I know that, what you were saying earlier about it being a struggle for your family, and that the reason why you wanted to become a lawyer and stuff like that, and just with your diverse and unique experiences and opportunities, like what are some things like you have brought to the table that made your resume a little more, I don't want to say interesting, but different than the people who are in Spokane?
No, oh yeah, of course. That's been a really nice thing. Is that my family has always really championed that idea of embracing, your individuality. And so when I was younger, I remember my parents first taught me English, and when I was in grade school, many years ago, it seems like now, um, I remember being very, I want to say, yeah, very embarrassed, because my parents, were of Hispanic background, and all of my friends, had different focuses, and some of the things that, were central to my family were just a little bit different. And I remember just being able to talk with my mom about that, and she really helped me see that, those differences are what make us unique. And I'm really glad she had that conversation with me because, embracing that Hispanic heritage and, not being afraid to learn Spanish and to be involved in my community in that way really was something that I was able to attest to, in my personal statement when I was trying to get into law school. And like you said, really helped differentiate me from, we want to say the average student. It's really not being afraid to go into those, little pockets that they might seem different, but really they're going to give you valuable life experiences and allow you to grow in ways that maybe not everybody is able to grow. And so really embracing that is what sets you apart from others.
Wow. Yeah, totally love that. Especially, we all come from different backgrounds and just
Mhm.
using the things that make us unique to make an exclamation point in the world, like to really capitalize on, what makes us different, like what you're saying, and really speak up for the injustices and be advocates for that. So advocates for that. So yeah, that's incredible. And so David, do you have a job right now in law school, or is law school your full-time job? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so in the first year, law school was my full-time job, and believe me, it kept me very busy. Um,
Yeah.
and I was told that first year was the worst year. Um, I was lied to. um, no, the second year, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable. It's still a lot of work, and there are some days where it really seems overwhelming, but I kind of know myself now, and I know how I study, what works for me. And so with that little bit of extra time, I've been able to take on an externship, which is pretty much where I'm getting to practice to be an attorney, getting to actually draft motions for summary judgment, working with declarations, doing subpoenas, medical chronology, all these types of things, just getting my hands, into the whole process. And so that's what I've been able to do right now, which has been very great because it gives me that practical experience. And I get to work with an attorney he's been working for 23 years now.
Wow.
So quite a bit. That's as old as I am, actually. He got his bar license when I was born.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so it's been a wonderful experience, and yeah, that's where I've been able to work, and it just helps me to further develop my legal skills.
Wow, love that. And did you have to like start off as a volunteer? Did you have to apply like you would a normal job or?
Yes, so actually, yeah, I had to go through an application process, and I went into interview. Granted, this was before all the extraneous circumstances that are now, going
Yeah.
on. But yeah, I got to sit down and have that actual, face-to-face interview, which again is also like a very, very important place to implement, the English and the way that you're communicating to others, because especially when you're in person or even on Zoom, we can still see everybody's face. And so you can see these facial expressions and, using hand gestures and things like that, and making sure that you're articulating yourself in a professional manner is really important. And it can be kind of stressful, when you have somebody in front of you, just face to face, but just maintaining that composure and remaining calm is just what really works out. So yeah, I was able to go through that process, and now I work from home because the office kind of closed down, but uh,
No.
I still get to be involved in all the work, and so it's been good.
Wow, that's incredible. So, David, as we kind of wrap up our time here, are there any like maybe study tips or any takeaways that you would like to give to someone or my students who have heard you today?
Yeah, I think I would say definitely, you talked about appropriating your time well. That's a really big thing. I know there's a lot of things that are calling our attention. Maybe you want to go hang out with a friend or you want to go grab something to eat. But what I found is that when I really set aside some time throughout the day to, say this is going to be when I'm going to do work, and after that, I'll be able to do things, my other interests, be able to take those on. And so really having that self-discipline and is very, very important, just so that it'll improve your overall quality of life, and you'll still get to partake in fun things, but you'll just not be as stressed, especially, like Miss Alt said, sixth grade, this is kind of where it all starts. After this, there's going to be a lot of big changes, and we just want to make sure that you're not going to feel overwhelmed as you're going through them, and definitely taking care of yourself is a really big aspect of that as well. It's great to be productive, and it's great to be finishing things on time, maybe even getting a little bit ahead, but also knowing when you need to maybe take a break and really take some time for yourself is very, very important. You don't want to overdo it and then not be able to do your work, or feel like maybe you're getting sick or you just don't feel like doing it anymore. It's all about that timing and really knowing yourself.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge, especially now with like the pandemic and some
Mhm.
people have the not really an option, but to be online and to work. It's really comes down to that self-discipline. I really like that you amplified that as well. Well, David, thank you so much for your time today and for teaching us a little bit about your life experiences and where you're currently at in the world. Before we go, when do you graduate again?
I'll be graduating in 2022, I believe, actually.
Wow, so
So
exciting. So you're just about halfway through, right?
yeah, just about halfway through. So I'm
Wow.
just
Okay.
constantly looking forward to the end there.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to you, David, as you continue with your studies in law school. I know it's not easy, but you're really, really doing a great job. And thank you for teaching us also the importance of ELA in the real world. So thank you so much, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.